I'm not from Kansas, and the way I found out about the program is actually kind of interesting. My husband was serving in the Army, and he had a 24-hour duty. And to serve that 24-hour duty, he had to stay awake. He knew that I loved working with people and money, and he said, you know what? She's talked about a PhD program before. Let's see what I can find her. And lo and behold, it was like the middle of the night, and he found the Kansas State University Personal Financial Planning PhD program. No, actually, Kansas State was the only hybrid program of its kind for personal financial planning. There are a handful of on-campus programs throughout the country in reputable institutions, but this is the only one that is hybrid that allows the students to live literally anywhere throughout the entire world, be part of a full-fledged, hardcore PhD program that's just like one where you would attend on campus, but you don't have to move to campus. In our case, we were stationed at Fort Gordon, Georgia when we found the program. That's where I started. I now live in Oregon, and I'm getting ready to move one more time. But through all this, I was able to do my degree program through Kansas State University. A little on campus, a lot via video teleconference, and lo and behold, here we are.
That's great.
Oh, it's been like the best adventure of my life. Best, hands down. Don't tell my children I said that, but absolutely the best thing ever. I've had so much fun. I've learned so much, and I think the thing that I love most about this program, because a lot of times online programs get a bad rap. And for some of those programs, it's justified. But this program, online, is not just online. You never see anybody. All you do is get assignments by email and turn them in. You actually see your professors via video teleconference. You go to campus for 2 intensive weeks per year. And the expectations are just like that of a regular full-time PhD program, except there's a little bit of flexibility in that if class time, say, for example, is 2 p.m. Kansas time, but that's noon Pacific, and you have a lunch meeting every week at that same time. You don't have to be in class because they can post the class and you can watch it later. But there's discussions, there's discussion board posts, there's interaction with the instructors, just like you would have if you were on campus. I love it. So the PhD program that I went through via Kansas State University had a cohort for each year. And so I started with a team of 8, and we were the group, and we went through all the classes together. Those are timed out just like you would have classes on a regular campus, and the instructors within our program were there to support us the whole way. So our first time on campus, we got to meet all of the instructors. We got to find out what their research interests are, when they would teach us, what they would teach us, and then we would have our Zoom sessions to have class, and then we would have study sessions with our classmates like you would at a regular library, except we'd do it over Zoom because we had somebody in Germany, I was in Georgia, we had somebody, all over the place. And so the support within this program is built in within the cohort, and you get to know and really bond with your cohort mates because you're going through all this really terrific, but also at the same time really high stress kind of work and learning and processing and changing your brain. And then at the same time, you do have the support of the faculty like you were if you were on campus. You can get a hold of them via telephone, via email, via Zoom, just like you would go in and have a meeting with an advisor on campus. So very, very similar to the campus environment, but you don't have to leave your comfort zone. You don't have to pick up and move and extend that additional expense. You can be where you're at and still succeed. When we first did general introductions, an email was sent out from the program coordinator saying, hey, welcome to everybody in the cohort. This is everybody's email address. Feel free to communicate or not, as you choose, and we'll see you on campus in August. Well, so I'm a people person. There's nobody I've ever met that's a stranger. So I reached out and started talking to people a little bit ahead of time. We made some connections on LinkedIn, shot across a few emails, but the first time any of us ever met face-to-face was on campus. And one of us, I made a very good friend via email, and so when we got here, we kind of knew each other just because we'd taken the time to build that. But then you're in class every day for 4 to 8 hours, depending on the session and depending on the year. So you're really in there getting to know those classmates, and that's in addition to everything else you're doing throughout the rest of the year. So you get to know these people just like you'd get to know family members. And they really do become your heart and your soul and your support network, in addition to the faculty, but your support network to get you through the good, the bad, the ugly that comes with the PhD program. But you're there for each other, and it's really great to be able to build those bonds. There are some really terrific online-only programs, but the thing that I really loved about the program that Kansas State offered is the hybrid piece, because you do get to know the people, you do get to have a face, you do get to have a body sitting next to you on those 2-week intensives. And in a PhD program, I think it is absolutely imperative to have those relationships, because it's not when you do well, well, no, let me take that back. It's not if you do well, it's when you do well. But at the same time, it's not if you struggle, it's when you struggle. And you want to be able to have that connection. And I think that's one of the best things about this particular program is that you meet the faculty every year. You see your classmates in person every year, but you also have access to these amazing resources, Zoom, and email. But the Zoom is so terrific because you get to sit there, and if you're frustrated with something, you can see the frustration, and that helps make that connection and helps break down some of those barriers and helps kind of bring the humanity into a PhD program. And I think that's so very, very important because there's so much imposter syndrome that we need to know that everybody's human too. And I think this program does that. The PhD program required a lot of research, and the Kansas State Library System, I have tweeted about them. I am in love. I think we might fight how much I love my husband versus how much I love Kansas State Libraries. And there are times when Kansas State Libraries comes out ahead. It didn't matter what I wanted. If I could not easily access it through just the online search, they would interlibrary loan it for me. I mean, we're talking, they say give us, a certain amount of time, but they always beat that deadline. Always. It was amazing to know that I could go and get all the support I needed from the library, and I didn't have to be anywhere close to campus. Oh, I am madly in love with Kansas State University libraries. Madly. And yes, my husband knows that. I chose this program because it fit my needs. I wanted my PhD. I did not know initially when I decided to get my PhD that it would be in personal financial planning. I got my bachelor's degree in broadcasting, my master's degree in communications. Then I tripped and fell literally into accredited financial counseling and found out that I fell in love with working with people in communication, or money and communication. So the PhD program at Kansas State, especially having come from the past, 2009, 2010, when we were seeing more of some of the scandals of online programs. And then I started in 2014, and I was a little hesitant. But I took the time and I looked at it. I said, number one, this is Kansas State University. That's a solid name institution that is a research institution. It's land grant. You're not going to get better than what Kansas State is and what Kansas State stands for. And then number two, the hybrid program really spoke to me because it showed me the people behind the assignments, the people behind the emails, so that I knew that I was more than just kind of okay, she got the general idea, pass it, move it on. They're grading hard. They're pushing you. There were times I went to bed crying and woke up screaming because, well, it's a PhD program. But there's that reality there. And when you get a lot of programs that are online only, you don't always make those connections. And that's one of the things I loved best about Kansas State is that the connection was there. You knew the person behind the grade, you knew the person behind the grading, and there was a relationship. Oh my God, amazing university. Yeah. Amazing university. I cannot speak more highly of Kansas State University as an institution as a whole. Not only my program in personal financial planning, not just the libraries, but just the entire institution and the inclusionary atmosphere and the willingness of people to communicate from the dean down to the students to the deans. There's no roadblock in communication in this program. You can always get through to who you want to. Yes, sometimes you need to go through what we would call a chain of command, but gosh darn it, if you need to get a message to the dean, you will get a message to the dean and the dean will get back to you. And that's one of the things that I love the most, is having that open communication and knowing that if you've got a question, you've got a problem, you've got a concern, you've got people who are interested in helping you work through it, helping you resolve it, and helping you understand what happened.
Did you get a scholarship?
I did get a scholarship. I did. I got a Global Campus Scholarship 2 semesters, I think.
Well, and did
Not
they
my last year. So I don't remember. I think it was 2 semesters.
But I mean, how did you find out about that? They just did you searching for a scholarship?
Boy, how did I find out? It was one of 2 ways that I found out about the Global Campus Scholarship. I either got an email from the department or Global Campus had sent something out. Global Campus is really, really terrific about communicating with the students who are part of the Global Campus organization via email. So there is regular communication, and there's somebody on the other end of that. If you have a question, you can pick up the phone, somebody's going to answer, which is really awesome. And I think I actually got the notification from Global Campus, and then that was when I reached out and said, okay, where do I go? It was in the email. I was just blind. All the information's right there. But yeah, there was a scholarship specifically for students who were earning their degrees via Global Campus. Awesome. I like free money. I think the thing that really stands out for me about getting my PhD in personal financial planning from Kansas State University is that I did not have to give anything up in terms of being a full-time PhD student. Yes, had I been working, I could have balanced it, but I didn't have to leave my family. I didn't have to move my family. I was able to be a PhD student. I was able to be held to the same academic standards and rigor as any on-campus program throughout the country. And this is a tough program. And that's one of the things I loved so much about it, is that it was rigorous. I learned so very, very much. I had a ton of support through Global Campus. I had a ton of support through the personal financial planning program. And I had amazing support through my cohort mates as well. I taught my daughter at 3 how to say heteroskedasticity, which is a statistics term. And I was trying to teach my son to spell it when he was 8. I'm still not quite sure if we're there, but they really got vested in what I was doing. My husband, of course, found the program for me. So he was really terrific about, okay, well, I got to go study. Love you. See you later. Helping me get up in the early mornings to do the things, or having the late nights. The kids stuck by me. Really, oh my gosh, what is the answer to everything? Dissertation. Mommy, do you love me? Dissertation. Mommy, what's for dinner? Dissertation. I'll go ask Daddy. Dissertation. And off they went. I mean, it definitely is a disruption in the family when you're working on a program like this, but that doesn't matter whether you're on campus or off campus. So my family definitely made it just an amazing ride, and they're glad that it's done. I'm glad that it's done, and now they get to call me Dr. Mom. And I'm a K-State alum. Go Wildcats! Well, it really, when Slade said it's online, I said, wait. Because you hear University of Phoenix, this is not something So I knew Kansas State, just like I knew a lot of different land-grant universities. And I said, online, I'm not sure about this. Then I saw that it was hybrid. So there was and I am a classroom learner. So some students are very good online learners. Some students are very good classroom learners. I am a classroom learner. I have done some stuff solely online, and I am a miserable failure at it, okay? But if you give me a program where it's set up like a classroom, even if I'm sitting in the comfort of my own home, sitting at my desk, sitting on my couch, wherever, and I'm in the classroom, and the expectation is participation, the expectation is feedback online, the expectation is a couple of weeks on campus participating. I loved it. It set me up for success, but it didn't mean that I had to disrupt the entire family. So Kansas State's program gives you the comfort of a very reputable organization, a very reputable school, and a program that can be compared against really any on-campus PhD program in the personal financial planning field throughout the country.
That's super.
Yeah, it is. And now I get to go start on a tenure track position at Oklahoma State University. So Kansas State set me up good. I mean, boom. I'm hired right out the gate from getting my PhD.
So you're going to be a cowboy and a wildcat.
I'm going to be a cowboy and a wildcat. Walking tomorrow is one of those things that, I celebrated in the car with the kids on the way to school the other day. Hey, mommy's graduating next week, and we did a little car dance. And about an hour later, my husband texted me. He's like, hey, you graduate with your PhD next week. How do you feel? I'm 41 years old. I had every intention of going to work for ESPN. Didn't happen. And I was going to be good. And life took me on a different path. And part of me has always wanted to continue education, but I just didn't know if we were going to find it because of the way my family dynamic was set up with my husband being active duty. And I did it. And I did it rearing 2 children. I did it via multiple moves. And I am now Dr. Kate Mielitz. So walking tomorrow is definitely going to be an extra special event for me.
That's for sure. Yep.
Sorry. Well, you know, my master's degree didn't faze me. Bachelor's degree, I didn't even walk. But this one's just, well, yeah, and there's a lot of talk, not as prevalent as it should be, but just about imposter syndrome and how a lot of people, whether we're in the professional field or we're in the academic field, and how much doubt there is. And I have worked really hard to set an example for my children and show that even through times of struggle, that you can persevere and get through it and talk it out. And even when you doubt yourself, there is a way for you to connect with another cohort mate or somebody in the cohort in front of you, or even sometimes the cohort behind you, that can just be there to say, you know what, you can do it. You are smart enough and you're going to make it. And I think one of the things that this program has really taught me, separate from, research and statistics and all this stuff, is embracing the fact that I'm not perfect and that it's okay not to know everything, and that there are other PhDs, whether it's my field or otherwise, that feel like I do, but I am confident enough to voice it. And I think that that's part of the reason that my path took me this way, is because I'm willing to say I don't know it all. Sometimes that scares me, but gosh darn it, I would not have gotten my degree conferred by Kansas State University if I hadn't darn well earned it. I earned it, baby. I'm Dr. Kate Mielitz.